Jim Turner, 303 496. It's my presentation on nutrition, health and disease. During the introduction, nutrition is the intake of food considered in relation to the body's dietary needs and is considered the cornerstone of good health. A bit of fact, standards of living have improved, food availability has expanded, but this has got negative consequences, unfortunately, with decreased physical activity and increased diet-related chronic diseases. So obesity is described as somebody who's very overweight with a lot of body fat according to the NHS. Obesity is a complex disorder involving excess amount of body fat that's made up of big, and overweight and obesity are defined as abnormal excessive fat accumulation that presents risk to health, which I think is the best definition, and that's from WHO. Obesity has doubled since 1980 worldwide. 35% of adults aged 20 and over were overweight in 2008 and 11% were obese. Cost of the UK is estimated around 15.8 billion per year and 4.2 billion in cost to the NHS directly. So the cause of obesity, primarily poor diet, eating large portions and lack of exercise. So we're eating more, but not exercising enough to obviously balance. It can be down to genetics, it can run in your family, it can be passed down hereditary. That links in with medical problems. And I think one of the most important factors I mentioned there is the biopsychosocial effects. Preventing obesity, you ought to be meeting your ACSM recommendations on 150 minutes of exercise per week. Eat a healthy balanced diet, and Evo plates on the next slide. You can do some self-monitoring, so write down what you're eating, what exercise you've done, keeping a diary of your daily activities, food-wise, exercise-wise. That presents you with the opportunity to goal set. So planning your diet a bit better, working your time around your regular life. And if it's medical, regular doctor visits, obviously medications, stuff like that. This is the Well plate. Actually consists based on starchy foods, a lot of fish, fruit and vegetables, cut down saturated fats and sugar, eat less salt, keep hydrated, and stick to the guideline amounts daily, 2,500 for men and 2,000 for women, and obviously adjust that to personal needs with exercise and what type of exercise you're doing. Daily diet consists of 55% carbs, 15% protein and 30% fats. Management and treatment for obesity, exercise programs is key. Getting yourself moving after being sedentary can be a task in itself. Cutting down on fats, too many carbs. GP referral scheme. This is where your doctor recommends and prescribes exercise and maybe a dietary plan for you to follow, for you to lose weight. I've got behavioural intervention. This consists of the models that I will talk about later, and it's all about changing the way you're thinking and behaving. Medication and surgery is considered to be the last resort. So the biopsychosocial problem is basically you've got obesity in the middle, you've got biological problems, psychological problems and social problems. Within this biological one you've got genetics, like I say if it's hereditary in your family, metabolism and comorbidities. Psychological, eating behaviours, this links in with behavioural change, activity habits and health knowledge. And social economic status, so if you're from a more affluent background, you're considered to be more healthy, and if not, then you're considered more easy foods to cook, which are very less healthy. Neighbourhoods, what type of neighbourhoods come from? Obviously, some neighbourhoods in more affluent areas might not be as effective, because if you come from a poorer area, that tends to make like community leaders and stuff like that to get you active and get you more. Listening to schools as well, if you're from a better area, you have better schools. Other health issues, obviously death, if you like to get that far, diabetes, CHD, arthritis, gallstones, hypertension, bad cholesterol, physiological issues, and certain cancers. Linking in with what I've said, another condition that can link in with obesity is diabetes, type 2 mainly. Diabetes is a long-time condition that causes the person's blood sugar level to become too high. That's from the NHS. Type 2 diabetes is caused by the body's ineffective use of insulin. It often results from excess body weight and physical inactivity. That's from WHO. And diabetes compromises a group of disorders characterised by blood glucose levels. Diabetes occurs when there's lack of hormone, insulin, and or the body is unable to respond to the action of the insulin. An estimated 3.71 million people have type 2 diabetes across the world. In 2010, around 1 in 4 of England's population had diabetes of some sort. World Health Organization projects that diabetes will be the 7th leading cause of death in 2030. Diabetes in general costs the NHS $10 billion a year to treat. Risk factors of type 2 diabetes include being overweight, that links in with poor diet and obesity. African Caribbean, Black Caribbean, Chinese or South Asian background, over 25, you're more likely. In compared to any other ethnicity, it's where it's over 40, so a massive difference in age. It can be hereditary, and high blood pressure and a history of heart disease can be a factor towards the risk as well. Prevention of type 2 diabetes. Exercising regularly, this promotes weight loss and insulin sensitivity, so your body handles insulin the way it should. Eat a balanced diet, relating back to the Eat Well Play, try and stick to that as much as you can. Weight management, lower weight, you're going to be more active, eat healthier, and that has an effect. Lower your BMI, and you can treat through medication.
Okay, good.
This is the 10 steps to eating healthy with diabetes. Eat 3 meals a day. This steadies your insulin levels. Include starchy carbohydrate foods. Cut down on fat. Eat more fruits and vegetables. Include more beans and lentils. Beans and lentils tend to raise the blood sugar slowly, rather than having a direct impact on like sugar spike. 2 portions of oil of fish a week, obviously omega-3 fats, much better for you than saturated fats in relation to your weight. Limit your sugar foods, reduction in salt, limit alcohol consumption, and do not eat diabetic foods. That's a recommendation from Diabetes UK, because they're saying it can negative effects on your body, cause all hell breaking loose. This is the Eat Well Play adaptation. We've got the top one, which is the one I showed you on the Eat Well Play slide, and the bottom one is adapted to losing weight, so a reduction of carbs in that one, but it's just giving you more vegetables instead of carb starchy foods. Beans, like I said before, raise blood sugar levels slowly. Almonds, a large study at Harvard University found that daily magnesium intake reduces the risk of developing diabetes by 33%. Salmon, omega fats help reduce risk of heart disease. Egg whites are high in protein but low calorie, so that's good for like your muscles in your body, providing you with some source of energy. Avocado are high in healthy fats, so replacing trans fats, your saturated fats with healthy fats, and avoiding sweets and chocolates, anything that's causing your blood sugar to spike rapidly. Glycemic index was developed for people with diabetes. It's a scale of 1 to 100 and sometimes can go over 100. 100 being glucose, a massive sugar spike in your blood. Lower GI, the better for diabetic people. In certain places, certain origins of the world, they will have different GI scales for different foods. Health risks: heart disease and stroke, nerve damage, ulcers, mainly foot ulcers, leg ulcers, kidney disease, and miscarriage of stillborn if pregnant. Moving on to osteoporosis. Osteoporosis literally means porous bones and is often referred to as fragile bone disease. That's a quote from National Osteoporosis Society. NHS define it as osteoporosis is a condition that weakens bone, making them fragile and more likely to break. And the last one from Age UK is osteoporosis is a progressive condition that affects your bones as you get older. It makes bones more fragile and more prone to break easily, with bones in your wrist, hip and spine being particularly susceptible. About half the population will have osteoporosis by the age of 75. It's more common in women over 50. 300,000 people receive hospital treatment for fragility fractures every year as a result of osteoporosis. After the menopause, prevalence rises with age, approximately 2% at 50 years and then 25% at 80 years. Fractures related to osteoporosis cost the NHS 1.73 billion a year. So from the age of 35, your bones lose the density and become weaker, more porous. Women, when they go through the menopause, the hormones change, the estrogen levels drop, and this can affect the bone density levels. In males, it's unknown, but it is linked with a low testosterone level. Some medication can cause a drop in bone density, alcohol misuse, hormone-related conditions, family history, eating disorders, and lengthy inactivity, which I think that one's key. When you're younger, if you're not physically active up to the age of 35, your bone density is not going to be as high as it could have been. Therefore, when you get older, it's going to drop and drop and drop. Advice and prevention: regular exercise, which like I just mentioned, up to the age of 35, preferably over as well, but intake calcium, make sure you've got a high calcium diet. Dark leafy vegetables, they're high in calcium and vitamins. Soy products, supplements, if you can't get enough in your diet, and vitamin D, that aids healthy bones. Resistance exercises are very good for osteoporosis. Obviously, weight bearing exercise makes the bones stronger. Stretching with osteoporosis sometimes relieves pain and stuff like that. Stability exercises. This is to reduce the risk of falls in older age. Stronger muscles obviously will be more stable, and hormone replacement therapy in players. Monitoring vigorous physical activity is associated with hip fractures, reduction by 45%. Exercise stop falls but not fractures, and there's no concrete evidence that exercise can, once you've got osteoporosis, can help it. That's based on 3 meta-analysis studies by Harvard. cancer. Cancer is a term used for a disease which of normal cells divided by control and are able to invade other tissues. That's from NIH. Cancer is a generic term for a large group of diseases that can affect any part of the body, from who. And cancer is a condition where cells in a specific part of the body grow and reproduce uncontrollably. Cancerous cells can invade and destroy surrounding healthy tissue, including organs. From NHS. Cancer causes 161,823 deaths in the UK in 2012. Mortality trends are decreasing 27% in males and 22% in females, and that's between 1992 and 2012. Breast, prostate, lung and bowel cancer account for almost half the deaths, and 4 in 5 lung cancer deaths are related directly to smoking. Liver cancer, unfortunately, is on the rise. 42% of cancer is preventable and linked to 14 lifestyle and other factors, smoking being the main factor in lung cancer. 64,500 cases a year in the UK are directly related to smoking. That's 19% of new cancers. Being a healthy weight will prevent about 18,100 cases a year, and that's 5% of new cases of cancer. Eating healthy could prevent 15,100 cases a year, and that's 5% of new cases. And being sun smart could prevent 11,500 cases a year, that's 3% of new cases. Cut down on bad lifestyle choices, smoking, drinking, poor diet, lack of exercise. Just after 10 years of being smoke-free, lung cancer risk is halved. 22% of mouth cancers in men are related to alcohol. Studies have found that exercise can reduce colon cancer by up to 30 to 40%. Few treatments for cancer includes chemotherapy, radiotherapy, some cases surgery, and stem cell and bone marrow transplant in certain cancers. During treatments, it can be found that patients suffer from anxiety, so they do teach you how to do breathing exercises to reduce that anxiety and help you sleep, because you need all the energy you can while going for treatment. People find that they're not as, the eating habits aren't right, they're not wanting to eat a lot, so more frequent small meals to keep the energy levels up. Dietary advice for cancer: high fat diet to avoid weight loss going through treatment, high calories to keep up energy levels, small regular meals if side effects are present, and after treatment try and get back to normal balanced diet, back to the low plate, back to the 30% carbs, 50% protein, 30% fats. This relates to weight-related cancer. As you can see, on the western coast, there's a lot of cancers related directly to weight. And the next slide shows fast food outlet hotspots. And as you can see again around this area, there's a lot of red hotspots, which is present to a higher value. I thought that was interesting, considering how many cancers are related to that sort of area. Initiatives then, Smoke-Free Initiative, obviously is a national initiative. You get a free quick kit when you apply, and face-to-face support in Brewington, Stevenage, the town centre, as a local support group. You also get online support, and 52% who set to quit date succeeded in quitting in 2012. So, and that is 3% higher than 2009. It's promoted by graphic TV ads, leaflets in healthcare centres and GPs, stuff like that, advertising boards. Hot Derbyshire is a local campaign, and it's a healthy eating campaign. Basically what they're doing, they've got a website, and you can search for what type of meal you want. Say if you want a low fat, low sugar or gluten free, something like that, and lower portion sizes, you can type in what you want into this website, and it'll suggest restaurants around Derbyshire that provide that service. I think this is good for reducing, obviously, diabetes, obesity, fat-related cancers. Diabetes in Derbyshire is related for about 6.4% of deaths, and 25% of adults in Derbyshire they're obese. And that's the search page.
Okay.
Moving on to behavioural training models. This is the transfer models. Basically, you go from stage to stage, so pre-contemplation, where you're thinking about changing behaviour. Pre-contemplation is where you're thinking about it, but not really thinking about taking action. Contemplation is where you're actually thinking about taking action. Preparation is where you're making a plan of how you're going to change. Action is where you make the change. Maintenance is if you keep up that change and relapse, obviously, back to the beginning where you start making that change. Perfect example for that is smoking. A lot of smokers go through each stage and get to the maintenance stage and relapse. This could be due to social factors more than anything, like going out for a drink, that leads to having a cigarette. This is a health belief model. Basically, you've got perceived susceptibility, seriousness, and then benefits and barriers. Then you go from this stage to perceived threat, like smoking, obviously the threat of cancers, mouth cancers, lung cancer, and efficacy, being able to successfully carry out the action and believe in yourself that you can actually do that. You weigh the benefits and barriers, and it's basically like doing pros and cons, and then what the outcome you expect is based on the pros and cons, actually the maintenance of that.